Okay, so I'm going to close with this, because I don't need to keep going on too long.
No.
We came all this way.
A little longer.
All right, I'll do more if you want more. But some of you guys, some people here will all know Al Aronowitz.
Yeah.
Great character. Man, what a character. So, Sunday night, the last night, or was it a Sunday, whatever it was, yeah, Alan, in his brilliance, and man, was that guy brilliant at organizing stuff. My big hero in the world, my two big heroes in the world at the time were Bill Graham and Ken Kesey. And it was my mission that summer of '82 was to finally meet Ken Kesey. And I'm just going to go to his house and knock on his door. That's what it took. But he was going to be at this event. And so Alan, in his organizing genius, had the last night, everybody who wanted to sort of could go on stage and give a 2-minute oracle, sort of premonition or vision of where they thought we were going with this thing. And, you know, with everything that had just happened. And you know, to his credit, back in the day when this happened, it was my girlfriend's little sister's 18th birthday. And I thought, oh, it's time for Uncle Brian to get her some adult books. And went to the, you know, corner cool bookstore in the west end of Vancouver to get on the road. And, you know, went to the K's, and there was no On the Road or Kerouac at all. And, you know, then went, well, go to the next store, and went to the next bookstore. Nothing. You couldn't even find On the Road in a bookstore in 1982. That's how out of favor Jack was. And Alan, to his credit, this was for the, you know, this 82 was the 25th anniversary of On the Road. And Alan did this thing and got all these scholars and journalists and people who went on to be major professors in universities around the country and everything, to get Jack back in the dialogue. And you could, you know, I'd love to see the sales reports of On the Road from 1970 to the present. And, you know, I bet you're going to see a spike or a steady line start going up from 1982. So he really achieved his objective. And so anyway, so in his organizing brilliance, oh, well, just the end of that book story party thing, because it's what happened, and it's in the first chapter. But so I keep going from bookstore to bookstore trying to find On the Road. And by the time I get to about the 6th one, I don't even go to the fiction shelves because it's a waste of time. I just go walking right up to the kiosk and just ask, you know. And behind the two people at the kiosk is this giant On the Road conference poster. You know, with Ferlinghetti, Holmes, Corso, Ginsberg, Ken Kesey, Abby Hoffman, you know, and in tiny print at the bottom, partially funded by the Grateful Dead. What? So I called them up. I think the conference was like a couple of $100 or something. So I called them up, which was, you know, $10,000 to keep me in 1982. And I said, hey, I know how to put on shows. Can I come and help you do that in exchange of going to the conference? And they said, yeah, we need that. So that's how, so I ended up hitchhiking from Vancouver to Boulder. And then, so my guy was Kesey, which was the whole point of the summer. And so I parlayed myself into being his handler for this thing. And we got along so well. In fact, at this day at the picnic, he says, why don't you come back and stay at the farm? And it was like, wow, my hero just invited me to his house. And so that's how the book ends. But anyway, so in Alan's genius of organizing, he did this Sunday night thing, right? And so all the time, Aronowitz was around, bugging Alan to put him on a panel or something. And he was really, you know, beside himself that he wasn't a featured speaker at this thing. And Alan, you know, knew, keep that guy off the stage. You know? And so finally, Alan gives in on the last night and lets Al go out for the 2-minute oracle with everybody else, you know? So then, okay, so there's one funny, priceless thing that was totally twisted and all in the family spirit of the whole climactic night. I mean, everyone had a good buzz on as the final peak folded in. I'm not saying it was immoral, but it was certainly illegal in a high school where we were, that everyone smuggled in their Kerouacian toque in their pocket. Which, come to think of it, probably wasn't that different from every other graduation dance this building hosted. But anyway, old Al Aronowitz comes out. And anybody who was at that Jack and the Beanstalk's living room show I did in New York when Al went on and on and on will get a kick out of this. So, the outlawed journalist, as he called himself then, before he later called himself the blacklisted journalist, never did get any time all conference, any stage time all conference. But Alan agreed, late in the final night's proceedings, to let him go out for a 2-minute oracle. Meanwhile, Al's written this whole report on the conference that he right off informs us won't get published anywhere. And so he begins to read the thing. And I mean the whole thing. And about 3 minutes in, you can hear Alan yelling, 2 minutes, Al! But he just keeps going. And I don't know if he planned it, but he was right in the middle of this great part that was actually an astute and loving tribute to Alan. You know, being a prophet and a poet promoter, the talent scout, the recruiter, the proselytizer, the missionary, the clown, and the straight man. And he's getting rounds of applause, but Bill Graham knows we're pushing 5 minutes, and he's in the wings getting louder and louder. 2 minutes! And Al just keeps reading sentence after gushing sentence about the very director who's pacing back and forth on the side of the stage, becoming a forehead-tapping Woody Allen, freaking out, trying to get the attention of the star he's put in the spotlight who's running amok. And eventually Alan comes out with looked like Burroughs' cane and starts pantomiming a vaudevillian getting the hook routine. And the audience is howling. The hook, Al! The hook! He's yelling, since Al's ignoring him. And this whole crazy comedy improv is playing out in front of everyone. A real live Shakespearean comedic setup with an actor stealing stage time by praising the director who's trying to yank him off it. And finally, Alan goes right out to center stage, and they're standing mano a mano, muse a miscreant. Alan saying within mic range, "We're going to turn the microphone off, Al." And Al just keeps thumping away on his pulpit, the other hand's finger raised in emphasis. He's a visionary who spins his web with the patience of a spider, a teacher who's forged a new link in the chain of knowledge, a holy wanderer through eternity. And Alan's pleading with him to shut up. And finally, the head of Beat Security comes out, Jack Kerouac. And now he's got backup. Alan literally puts the cane around Al's neck while Micheline bear hugs him, and they drag poor Al off the mic and off the stage. God, it was funny, and God bless them all. Okay, well, I'll take that as a call for an encore. And read you, just since we're kind of here for Jack, I'll just read you a little smidge of a Jack piece. This was something he liked to read from on the road among his friends, Amram and other jazz musicians, if they were in the room, would accompany him. So this is some favorite Jack of Jack's. Neil and I went to see George Shearing at Birdland in the midst of the long, mad weekend. The place was deserted. We were the first customers, 10 o'clock. And Shearing came out blind, led by the hand to his keyboard. He was a distinguished-looking Englishman with a stiff white collar, slightly beefy, blonde, with a delicate English summer night's air about him that came out in the first rippling, sweet number he played, as the bass player leaned to him reverently and thrummed the beat. The drummer, Denzel Best, sat motionless except for his wrists snapping the brushes, and Shearing began to rock. A smile broke over his ecstatic face. He began to rock in the piano seat, back and forth, slowly at first, and then the beat went up, and he began rocking fast. His left foot jumped up with every beat. His neck began to rock crookedly. He brought his face down to the keys. He pushed his hair back. His combed hair dissolved, and he began to sweat. And the music picked up. The bass player hunched over and socked it in. Faster and faster, it seemed. Faster and faster, that's all. And Shearing began to play his chords. They rolled out of the piano in great, rich showers. You'd think the man wouldn't have time to line them up. They rolled and rolled like the sea. Folks yelled for him to go. Neil was sweating. The sweat poured down his collar. There he is. That's him. Oh, God, Shearing. Yes, yes, yes. And Shearing was conscious of the madman behind him and could hear every one of Neil's gasps and imprecations. That's right, Neil said. Yes. And everybody else is making this thing happen. Thank you, everybody.